Hi, I'm Nick Meelan, and today I'll be talking about surfboard design and all the different types of surfboards. So a little about myself. I have been surfing almost all of my life. That is me right here. My dad taught me how to surf, and I've been surfing up until now, and that's me right there. Since then, I have tested many different kinds of boards, done a lot of research with board design and what goes into making the perfect board. Right here is all the different types of surfboards, and that's what I'll be talking about today. Now I'll be talking about standard shortboards. This is what most professional surfers use when they're in competitions or just free riding. Now, the reason they ride these is because they're quick turns, they stay in the barrel, and they're great for airs. But the reason most riders don't use these shortboards is because they're very hard to catch waves and very hard to balance. Now, right here is a standard shortboard. It has 3 fins. Some shortboards have 4, even 5, but the standard ones have 3, which is called a thruster. They're very thin and low volume. That's why it's hard to paddle and catch waves. They're very sharp rails towards the back. Very thin tails, which are great for turning. And this is a standard shortboard. So now I'll be talking about longboards. They're the polar opposite of shortboards because the paddle power and they can catch any waves. They're great for beginners because the catchability of the waves, but they are also used by professionals because of walking the nose and the fin first takeoffs. They are very long and they usually have 1 fin, which is great for gliding and speed, but they're only good for small waves because the low rocker and the size of the rails. Now, towards the back, it is way thicker than shortboards, which is great for walking the nose and keeping your speed, but not too good for quick turns. So now I'm going to talk about tails, rails, and noses, which are some key features in how you can customize your board based on your riding style. So first I'm going to talk about tail shape. There are, as you can see, many different types of tail shapes. This board right here has a straight pintail. This is a hybrid or fun shape board. So that's why it's a perfect mix because this tail has a lot of maneuverability, but also a lot of glide and paddle power. Some typical tail shapes are the chop tail, which you can see in a lot of longboards, the square tail, the squash tail, which you can see in shortboards especially, the swallowtail and the wing swallow you can see in a lot of fish-shaped boards because of the glide, but also the way that they can maneuver very well. And then we get into rails. This board actually has a 60-40, but in a lot of longboards you see a 50-50 rail because of the smooth design of the rail, and that makes for long, smooth turns. This board has something right in the middle of a shortboard and a longboard, which is good for both. You can glide, but you can also have sharp turns. In a shortboard, you see an 80-20 most of the time because of the sharp rails down at the bottom, and that is great for sticking in the barrel and sharp cuts. So now we get to noses, and on this board, it has a lot of paddle power because of the way the nose is shaped really nice and wide. But in a lot of shortboards, like this one right here, it has not as much paddle power because of the way that it is thinned out and skinny towards the top. The wider the nose is, the more float and paddle power it has, and it is all dependent on the way that the rider wants to ride the wave. So now we're getting into concave, rocker, and shape, which are 3 customizable things based on the waves you're riding and the style of rider you are. In this longboard, the concave on the bottom is a hydro hole, which in this case is very extreme because of the major indent in the middle, but it's a great example for the hydro hole shape, which it glides through choppy conditions, and when you're nose riding, it really keeps above the water. But there are many different types of concaves, which all on the bottom of the boards is very subtle. The flat concave is very good for speed and maneuverability, but the V and the hydro hole and the triplane hole are very good for cuts and gripping towards the wave. There are even abstract designs like the channel hole, which are deep cuts, which almost act like fins. Now, when we get into rocker, the nose rocker is, in shortboards, is very extreme because of you need maneuverability, and when you're landing airs or doing vertical cuts, you need the extreme rocker to land these cuts. But in nose riders and longboards, you need a flat rocker so it's easy to walk up the nose and easy to catch waves. Now, shape is all dependent on skill level and what the rider wants to perform. Now, a really thin, less volume shape is very good for tube riding and cuts and airs, but a really long, wide shape is great for catching waves and nose riding. And that is concave rocker and shape. To wrap it up, there are so many different types of boards because of the different wave conditions and different style of rider, and there's really something for everybody. And that's why it creates a great business for surfing, because of the new innovations coming out with boards and different style of boards. These are my references. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you out in the water.